Hey guys, it's I to Japan. Building a home in Japan was a dream. But there are definitely things I'd go back and fix if I could. From small design flaws to a financial mistake that cost me around 10 million yen. Here are my biggest regrets after living in the house I built here in Japan. One of the biggest regrets in our build was how we handled covering our windows. First, a bit of trivia. In Japan, roll blinds are commonly called roll screen or roll screens. There are many reasons to pick these, but generally you choose them if you want to see the whole window without the curtains on the side. They look great and have a very clean look. Especially when they're rolled up, it feels like there's nothing there at all. However, picking these for several places in our house turned out to be a major mistake. The first problem is the noise. Because the house was actually designed for maximum airflow, we tried to keep the windows open when possible. If you're watching from a country that mostly uses central AC, in Japan it's a little bit different. Most people use traditional ACs. Like everyone else, we went the traditional route of multiple individual ACs, so to let air pass through unused rooms, we keep the windows open. These screens are incredibly loud because the weights keep hitting the window frame, even on mildly windy days. The mistake was having zero experience with roll screens or blinds. In our previous apartments, we had only ever used curtains. We didn't even realize that these weights were necessary. The second problem is the light. Even if we kept the ACs on all summer to solve the noise issue, which by the way I find very wasteful, this light problem continues to be a nightmare. Putting them in our bedroom was a huge mistake. Our house faces the south, so the sun is extremely bright and goes right through the screen. We didn't even buy cheap ones. We bought the highest rank called EQ. Even so, the light still leaks inside. There are two ways to mount screens or blinds, inside the window frame or outside. We use an outside mount in the bedroom because it's theoretically supposed to block more light. But for us, the light still leaks through the gaps, so it basically didn't solve anything. On top of that, it actually backfired for this window parallel to our bed. Every morning from the angle where I sleep, the light comes in directly and hits me in the eyes. To fix this, I have to manually keep inserting the screen inside the frame. It kind of works, but it just looks terrible. A big part of this was blindly trusting the katenyasan, or the curtain dealer. We simply thought that they knew what was best for us. We also never visited a curtain showroom, which we did for other parts of the house. It may also have been choice fatigue. We just wanted to make a decision right away. It's frustrating because this could have been fixed by doing a little bit more research and just going with regular boring old curtains. This has been a huge life lesson and the fault 100% lies with us. It was a rookie mistake that cost us a few 100,000 yen. As a short-term solution, we use eye masks, which definitely help us sleep better. Our long-term plan is to replace the problematic windows with curtains and move the screens elsewhere. I have a vague idea of where to move some of them, but it looks like 1 or 2 or 3 would go to waste, which is probably going to be around 100,000. For reference, we paid around 600,000 yen for these screens and blinds. If we did it all over, we wouldn't use a fancy maker and just go with something more economical like Nitori. We overshot here, spent a lot, and we can't even control these screens with an app. For the record, I don't think roll screens or blinds are bad, but I would only put them on hamegoroshi or windows that cannot be opened. They also work well as space dividers like we did for a Japanese room. Or if you really want to put them on most windows, I strongly recommend skipping the bedroom. You could pair them with the curtains to block the light, but it kind of misses the point of having the clean look of the roll screens anyway. This is probably a controversial opinion, but after living here, I finally understood why most Japanese houses have very small windows. On one hand, you have privacy concerns. On the other, if your house faces south, the rooms can get incredibly hot during the summer. This sort of radiant heat can be fixed with curtains, but it made me wonder, what is the point of having these big windows if you're just gonna close them? In my office, it gets so hot from the sun that I actually have to open the windows some days, even in the middle of winter. Another side effect of big windows is the cost, as you have to pay significantly more for curtains, or roll screens or blinds, because they're so much bigger. Although I wouldn't say this is a chimeteki or critical mistake, we really do enjoy the natural sunlight. For example, there's absolutely no need to turn any lights on until it gets dark outside. Big windows, personally, I feel like it's a very individual decision that boils down to the person. If we were to do it again, we would opt for medium-sized windows instead. We would only put the big ones inside of the house that don't face the sun directly. I also don't want a dark home, so it's kind of a difficult situation to balance. We also made the mistake of putting windows indoors in places where they have absolutely no use. For example, we have this door that opens through the balcony from the bedroom, and it also opens through the hallway. Aside from the fact that it bothers me every morning, it's also an extra expense for the door itself and also for the curtain or roll screen that we need to buy for it. And because we made a mistake, we now have to buy a second curtain to fix the light issues that this useless window created. I think we needed more imagination in terms of what kinds of windows to use and where to put them. Honestly, because we just entered our late 20s, we don't really have a lot of life experience. So it was kind of hard to imagine what we would actually need in the future versus what we thought we wanted. I do think money can solve the issues between the curtains and windows, but it is kind of like fun to try to problem solve everything first before deferring to paying more cash. Also, one last thing, big windows are a pain to clean. One of the biggest things I regret about our home build is our sunken living room. In Japanese, we have this word called akugare, or aspiration, and it was something I really wanted ever since the beginning. The problem started with the triangular shape of our land, and this forced us into many compromises. It made it nearly impossible to plan a functional living room. However, our designer actually suggested a lot of things. One of their suggestions was turning the triangular corner into some sort of like an outdoor space, but we rejected it because we wanted to maximize the indoor space. Looking back, his idea was much better. We were inexperienced and should have given him a little bit more autonomy. Instead of pushing for more room, that turns out would be hard to use. Because of the angles, most standard market sofas don't actually fit well. In the end, we settled for this leather sofa, but it kind of doesn't match the vibe of our home. And we're still left with this small triangular corner behind it. We should have just gone for a custom fit sofa, but since we didn't, now we're struggling to find furniture combinations to utilize the space and hope it doesn't look awkward. Then there was the floor itself. We had the option for a full or half drop, and we chose the half drop because we were afraid it would go too deep. In Japanese, we say chutohampa, a half measure.
Half measure.
It doesn't feel like a cozy retreat, it just feels like a minor step down. This sunken floor cost us around 500,000 yen, and although we are happy overall, it's fine. I still scratch my head at my past self and wish I acted differently. Another regret was not going to the construction site every single day. Even though I live really close, I only checked like once or twice every week or every 2 weeks. As a result, some major issues went completely unnoticed until it was too late. An example was our first floor sink toilet. We ordered this from a vendor, but after moving in, we realized the door was broken. It's made out of particle board, which honestly makes no sense for a thing that's so close to water, because they didn't catch this until after we moved in. The seller claimed that we were the ones who broke it. I'm confident we didn't, because we didn't even use that toilet. For the first month, we were only using the one on the second floor. That's why we didn't notice. Another thing, there's a ton of people online complaining about the same issue. Due to libel laws in Japan, I can't name the company, so I'll just say, you should probably avoid tap water. Another miss was the toilet paper holder on our second floor. I bought it from Rakuten, and while it looked good in the photos, the color and the style don't actually match. I caught this during a weekly visit, and I quickly stopped them from installing the same one on the first floor. I got a nicer one for the first floor, but now the two bathrooms don't match at all. And since I spent about 6,000 yen for this thing that doesn't match, I'm just gonna use it for a while because I don't really want to waste the money. As for the extra one, I just gave it to a friend, and that's another 6,000 yen we lost for no reason. In modern Japanese homes, you'll see these open ceilings called fukinoke. While they look nice, as someone who actually lives with one, I have to be honest, they don't serve much purpose. It's essentially a hole in your ceiling that makes your house much harder to heat or cool. We have a ceiling fan to move the air, and while our bill hasn't exceeded 10,000 yen a month, that fan has to be always on when we're down here, especially in the winter so it can push the heat down. We could have easily used that area to extend my office. Then there's the balcony. In my old apartment, I used the balcony to dry clothes. But now that we have a small backyard, it sort of lost its job. Now it's just an extra area I have to keep clean. Between the fukinoke and the balcony, we could have had a whole extra room. We could have also added more storage instead of all these unused spaces. A renovation to turn it into a room would cost around 1 million yen, and we're seriously considering to do it down the road. Right now, we only use the space to dry used towels before they go into a hamper. It's basically a 1 million yen towel rack. We do plan to use it eventually for like early morning coffee or like an herb garden, but with the current budget, we haven't been able to buy the outdoor furniture or gardening equipment to make that happen. If you have any suggestions on how we can utilize this space, let me know in the comments below. Most home loans in Japan only cover the exterior construction, or gaiko, if you use your primary builder. Since we were running low in cash, and our builder's quote was quite expensive, we decided to hire the cheapest external developer we could find. And like I keep saying in my previous videos, this was a huge mistake. At the beginning, the house was already finished, so they had weeks to measure the land, do tests, and prepare for construction. Instead, they ghosted us. I was actually on vacation in Toyama when they suddenly called after 3 weeks of total silence. They promised to start on time. But after coming home, the next day a staff member visited us, inspected the site, and told us, sorry, your carport and your covered laundry area would be impossible to build. I was like, what? He claimed it would cause structural integrity problems for our neighbors, which is understandable, but it's something they should have checked weeks ago. If they checked weeks ago, we could have done something, checked with our builder, see if there's something we can do, but it was too late. As of right now, we're stuck with the parking places with no roof and also a laundry area which is exposed to the elements. And even worse, during the final build, the price barely dropped because they added random price increases to the final bill. Whether or not those are justified, I don't know. I'm not an expert in construction, but that was the reality. So during the construction itself, they also use shitauke, or subcontractors. These subcontractors were clearly juggling too many projects. They would drop their materials in front of our house and disappear. I think it took around 2 weeks for them to actually start after they put the lumber and the concrete in front of our house. We also ordered a railing for our stairs. And while they did build it, they did it without measuring anything. So we weren't able to open the door properly. When we asked them to fix it, they offered to remove it, but said there wouldn't be any refunds. They said the rail was now secondhand. I was like, what? They said it couldn't be resolved, but honestly, who would even know? Without any official receipts, I don't even know if the parts they used for our house were even new in the first place. Eventually, they replaced it with a slightly better rail, and they did it with no extra charge, which was kind of an okay resolution. It was a terrible experience, could have been avoided if we had picked a builder who was more reliable and probably a little bit more expensive in the first place. The biggest red flag was a clause in their contract asking us not to post bad reviews online if things do go wrong. We ignored that red flag because we were already deep in the process and rejected every other external developer that gave us a code. Looking back, I really regret not taking that one seriously. As a bonus, I'll talk about something which I don't regret, and that is not having any bathtubs. In Japan, bathtubs are a standard part of life. We decided to skip this, and the main reason was the high cost of water and heating required to fill it up every day. If I ever feel like soaking, I just go to a nearby onsen. I go at least once a month, so I don't really feel like I'm missing out on anything. Instead of a tub, we installed shower booths on both the first and second floor. This setup is amazing. When we have guests, they can just use the first floor. Another plus of just having shower booths is that it's very easy to clean. Since the surface area is much smaller than a traditional Japanese bath, maintenance is a breeze. My only real regret here, if I had to do it all over again, I would have made the shower booths just a little bit bigger for that extra bit of comfort. This is a regret that I'm not really 100% sure about, but I often think I should have probably waited a little bit more before building. If you follow my channel, you know that I'm a naturalized Japanese citizen. I actually signed my loan before my citizenship was finalized. As a citizen or someone with PR, you get access to ultra-low mortgage rate. But since I applied as a foreign resident, I got hit with a higher rate than most of the population. So why did I rush it? One word, and yes, weekend. Since COVID, Japan has seen massive price hikes on mostly everything, from food to construction materials. My tantosha, or person in charge, told me, take the higher rate now. You can always refinance the loan later, but once the cost of wood and steel go up, they're never going down. It was half sales talk. We took the bait. Was it the right call? I recently visited a model house park and got quotes for the same specs that were around 10 million yen higher than what we paid. Maybe it was the right move, maybe not. What's for sure is I'm still going to refinance. Even with the 1 million refinancing fee, according to simulators, it's still going to end up much cheaper for me. I also want my variable rate to be more in line with what other citizens get. To cover the down payment, we did the unthinkable. We took out money from our NISA. For those who don't know, NISA is a tax-free wrapper for your investments. The whole point of it is to let your money sit as long as possible so you can maximize the gains. I took out 3 million yen. On paper, I just spent 3 million yen. Over 30 years, at a conservative 5% return, that's 30 million yen I could have had. That's around 10 million yen in potential profit that I just threw away. Although life isn't just about numbers, I know. And we also needed a home. But since a house in Japan is rarely an investment, it feels like a heavy trade-off. I could have waited and saved that 3 million yen in 1, maybe 2 years. If you were in my shoes back then, what would you have done? Would you have waited for citizenship, or would you have rushed to beat inflation? Let me know in the comments below. Overall, we're still very happy because no house can ever be perfect. So I'm curious, which one of these is a deal breaker for you? Which one of these don't really matter for you? Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one.